Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the EMAzing Tennis Podcast. Today, we have Michele Krause with us. She's a tennis fitness integration specialist, or how she likes to call herself, cardio girl. She was the Cardio Tennis Global Education Director for 15 years and works with the USTA to grow cardio tennis. She managed the cardio tennis program starting in 2005, and under her leadership, it became a global product and now is part of a tennis culture throughout the world. She's a USPT and PTR tennis professional who managed tennis facilities throughout the US prior to her cardio tennis role. She was featured on the Tennis Channel, 1 Minute Clinics, On Court with USPTA, Bulging Bridges, as well as the NBC's The Biggest Loser. She organized and implemented the Get Fit Vegeta and Million Calorie Burn tennis fitness events. I mean, I could just go on and on of what she's done. She has tremendous experience. She's definitely a role model. She's somebody I look up to, and I'm excited to get to know Michele's story and to get to know, to see what we can learn from her. So Michele, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here and see you.
Yes, very, very nice. I mean, I really appreciate you taking time away and, talking a little bit about your story. So can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself? I mean, I already said a lot about yourself, but what do you do exactly right now?
So I am working in the capacity of for the USTA. I am the cardio tennis consultant. So essentially my titles have like ebbed and flowed and changed over the years. But what that boils down to is that I am, managing leading cardio tennis, not just in the US, but also outside of the United States. So when cardio tennis was created back in 2005, we thought, oh, this will be great for the United States. We had no idea like how crazy popular it would be in other countries. And so we've been managing those relationships with other countries and helping to bring cardio tennis outside the US for a very long time. So I'm a bit of a one-person show. I kind of oversee all the aspects of cardio tennis, and that being the big priority, of course, is always educating our tennis and fitness professionals and how to deliver cardio tennis.
So when you say you are the one that's leading, that's doing everything for it right now? Or?
For the most part, we have a team. There are a team of volunteers who make up the cardio tennis trainers. In fact, we're having a big summit in Lake Nona in a couple of weeks. So so the trainers will be coming in for essentially their train the trainer weekend. And we have not been together in about 5 years. So it's very exciting. And I've got a lot of planning and prepping to do. And of course, there's support from the USTA. I am a consultant for them. So there are some things, behind and people in, at the national level that help me. But I'm the only staff person, essentially, that
I see
works in the cardio tennis space. Yeah.
When I did the cardio tennis course, I mean, I loved it. I fell in love right after I did it like in one sitting.
Yeah.
That rarely happens for me because
good.
I lose focus easily, or like I'm just.
Me too.
Or I start working on one thing. I'm like, oh, I have to get this done, and then I start working on that, and it's like another thing and another thing. I'm like, oh, what was I even gonna do? But that really course, I really like sat through that. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. To me, it's amazing that it's free. Anybody can access it.
Yeah, isn't that nice that it's free? So let's tell your viewers that they are welcome to check it out at cardiotennisinstructor.com. And that is the platform for tennis and fitness coaches looking to get education in that space. There are currently 2 courses available. They're both complimentary. One is called Cardio Tennis Getting Started. That's the one Emma's referring to. And the other one is called the Cardio Tennis Triples Experience. And we will always be adding more content to that platform. And if you are a tennis coach and you do those courses and you finish them, you get a certificate of completion and you can submit them to the USPTA or the PTR for CEUs. So, there's benefit there as well. And the one thing that I would say about cardio tennis education, generically speaking, is it's not just about cardio tennis. All right. So that education is for anybody in the tennis industry that wants to become a better teaching professional. So my expectation is not that, everybody will go there and everybody will do cardio tennis. All right. That's just not the way the world works. But anybody who coaches at any level is going to get a lot of good information there that they can apply across, whether they're working with juniors, whether they're working with teams, whether they're a high school coach, all those, and you've experienced it, Emma, so you know the content that's in there, right? It's like you can take all those little pieces, right? And you can go out the next day and you can implement those pieces. So it's not just about cardio tennis. It's about helping people become better coaches.
100%. I did the course like right before I did the summer camp, the summer camp this year, and I used everything from the cardio tennis for my summer camp.
Right.
And a lot of coaches, what else I like, that you can print out the drills. You can. Yep. I printed everything out. I shared with my coaches. Even I took screenshots and I was sending in the groups. And a lot of them were like, and then that have been in the industry for a while, like, oh my God, I've never done this drill. Oh my God, I've never done it this way. Oh my God, I've never, and it was really helpful. So I highly, highly recommend it, to any tennis coach out there that wants to get better, at their job.
Great resource, right? I mean, to your point, there's collateral materials in there that, are just, they're amazing. And of course I'm a little biased, all right, but I always say, like, I feel like if anybody's coming into our industry, as a newer coach, I really think that they need to start with cardio tennis as opposed to everything else, because we tend to, in this industry, like, okay, we're going to teach how to do a forehand. No, we need to teach people how to play immediately, right? Not stand in lines. Yes. Okay. Have tons of touches on the ball, right? Yes. The forehand will come, but first you got to get them playing. Yes. And that's so much of what cardio is. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I really want to talk about this a lot, because it's, even the games that you're standing on the same side of the court, but without the net in between you, you're using the red or the foam balls. And you're, like you said, you're getting the touches on the ball. You're not getting confused with like the technique. You're not getting worried about that. You're getting the touches on the ball before you're actually learning, this and that. Right. But you lose the beauty of it. Depends what your goals are.
Right. And again, it would need to move on from there, right? Yeah. If they don't love it first, they're never going to move on, right? So we have to get, and everybody to love tennis first. Yeah. Then if they want to get better, we have many, many ways and routes for them to go with that.
I work with, I have toddler classes, and it's ideal for them too. Yeah. Like for a 3 and 4 year old. Yeah. I'm serious. You put 2 dots, right? You put the marks, they know where they have to be, right? And they're running around, they're hitting the ball. It doesn't matter where it's going, right? It doesn't look pretty.
And that's okay, right?
And that's okay. Yeah.
And to your point, the dots are, we refer to them, as we call them plastics, we call them flat markers, spots, but they are your best friend. So whether you're dealing with a 3-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 60-year-old, using those flat markers for positioning, for telling people where to go, just makes your life as a coach so much easier, right? When you don't have that tool, then it's chaos. Okay. And everybody's like, where am I going? So lots of useful information in there.
No, I love it. And thanks, thanks for providing that to us. I really highly recommend.
We'll thank the USTA for that. Okay. So we're very happy.
Thanks,
Thank you,
USTA.
USTA. Yeah.
So prior to cardio tennis, what did you do? Were you managing clubs? You were a coach?
I was a tennis coach. I was a full-time teaching coach. My pathway was a little bit different, where I think, most people that end up in coaching had this stellar history and background of playing at a high level. And I was not that person. I played high school tennis. I did a lot of other sports. I did not play tennis in college. That was not I went to Arizona State. There was no way I was not even close enough to be, I maybe could have played, some D2 ball maybe, but I wanted to go to Arizona State. So then after school, I kind of started coaching. I'd done a little coaching prior, and it was weirdly, I just never stopped coaching. So it wasn't really my intent. I wanted to be an FBI agent. So,
oh my God. I swear to God. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, the FB, and even going to college at first, that was my education path, but I took a detour anyway. And so coaching just was always there, and it became my full-time, always profession. So I was fortunate to work in different places, Bahamas, Mexico, California, Washington State. I ended up building a club in Florida, in Punta Gorda. That was really fun whenever you can start something from scratch and you're building a tennis and fitness club. And I mean, that was just, amazingly, just a wonderful experience and such fun. And then Hurricane Charlie hit in 2004, and that leveled my town. And I lost my house. My house was condemned, and it was, natural disasters are terrible for everyone. And so I was going to leave tennis. I was at a level of burnout. I'm like, hurricane related, et cetera. And I didn't really have a plan B. Usually you should have a plan B. I think I'm going to be done. And good karma happened. There was an advertisement for, USTA starting new program, cardio tennis, looking for a manager. And I saw that advertisement, and I just said, that is me. That is me. And I submitted my resume, and I went through the interview process, and they picked me. And 17 years later, I am still doing cardio tennis. So this US Open was our 17-year anniversary. So yes, I am a coach of tennis, and I love tennis more than anything in the world. I think you probably would say the same thing, except for our families.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's our identity. It's part of our lives. It's who we are. Even if you try to run away from it, you can't.
You don't get out.
Yes. Yeah. It was the same. I tried, doing other things, and after college, but then kind of my road was always leaning towards tennis, and I love it. I do love it, but you have to find what part of tennis you love, right? What, who you like to coach, which way, because I probably is the same with you. You mentioned the burnout, if you just do hours after hours, and there's no goals, there's nothing, you're just doing lessons, then you get burnout really fast. But if you have a passion, if you know who you like to work with, what kind of, practices you like to, run, then it becomes a different story. Don't you agree with that?
And I think that takes people different amounts of time to determine that. And there is a lot of offerings in the tennis industry. So I think that there are ways to find for, men and women to find their little niche, area. For some people it's high performance. For some people it's, it's younger, it's 10 and under. For some people it's cardio tennis. For some people it's maybe on the sporting goods side, of the business. Now we have the internet and we have social media and we have platforms like TikTok and Instagram where, people can really, find their niches there, just like, like you have done, and have done a great job with that. So it's, where does your skill set lie? Where does your passion? I mean, I'm not really going to coach high performance players. That's not my passion per se. And we have lots of people out there in that space that are great at it, and it is their passion. So do you want to be at a country club? Do you want to be at a commercial facility? Do you want to be at a parks and recreation facility? So there is a lot to really choose from, to kind of find what we need to do better as an industry as a whole, though, is there needs to be a better pathway for people to move up and through the industry with good financial benefits. Yeah. And we do lack a bit in that industry. That's not necessarily for you and I to solve, Emma, but, we have a lot of our organizations and, those are the ones that should be tackling those things. But we do need to provide a better pathway and some more financial security. I'll share something interesting with you. Think about tennis coaches, right? Is it a 9-to-5 job?
No.
Okay. So it's a all hours of the day job and it's a weekends job. All right. So if you look at today's culture, younger people in their 20s and 30s, is that really what they're looking for? No. Probably not. Okay, that those generations are looking for more of a 9-to-5, more, and in today's world, we're now moving to a 4-day work week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about that, that is a challenge for our industry at a very, how are we going to get new coaches into our system if they're going to go in with, well, you got to work evenings, you got to work weekends. Okay. Now, again, some of these people, they have, that's fine with them, but the majority, that's not going to be. So I can tell you that, which is really cool, at Lake Nona, at our UST National Campus, they are instituting the 5-day work week for the tennis teaching staff, which I think is amazing. So that is a great selling point if you're a tennis director, or you're hiring your management. It's like, and I can tell that individual, hey, you come work for me, and I guarantee you're going to work a 5-day work week. I mean, that's huge. Okay, now people could say, oh, well, that's USTA and they can do it because they're USTA. Well, guess what? The tennis department at campus, the tennis staff, they have a budget, they have a P&L statement, they have to make money. So it's not like that there's an endless amount of money and it's a free for all. So just like any commercial club, it's a business. So if campus can do it, then I think a lot of our other tennis businesses, but we're going to have to move in that direction because we will not have growth, and we need coaches. We are in a coaching shortage, just like most industries have a staffing shortage. So, I just think that whole 5-day work week concept is incredible. What do you think?
This is like a whole other, I'm just thinking where I'm at right now with my, okay,
right.
So and the coaches that are working with me, right? Because I am, since a few months ago, you don't know this, but I'm just telling you a little bit. Since 5 months ago, I'm a head pro at a country club. And this is my first, no, I worked as a pro in a country club like 5-6 years ago. That was like one of my first jobs, and I did not like it. I said I will never work again in a country club, and here I am again. But it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different because I'm in control, right? So I can do whatever I want to do. I can, I mean, in a way that I still have to run the program. I have to run it good, but If I want to be on the court this morning, I will be. If I don't, I have other 3-4 pros that can be there instead of me, right? So thinking about that, what you're just saying.
Right.
I'm very fortunate that I have, three pros that are very flexible, right? And they're working with me. Like I'm doing a 5-day week,
Yep.
because I do have a family, right?
You
I
do.
have a family. I am a mother and I have to take care of my kids, and I feel like I'm still not taking care of them enough, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I should have. I don't know. This is debatable. This is another subject, when it comes to female coaching, and we'll get to that subject,
Being moms, right?
Yes, I have to, I can't do the late nights because I want to give them a bath. I want to put them to bed, but
Right.
sometimes I have to, some weekends I have to work and there's things. But I have other coaches that don't have families and they're male, right? And
Right.
it's easier for them and they're fine. They're fine, right? They're fine and they will do as many hours as possible, which I'm really, really happy with. It depends, it's tough. Depends what your goals are, where you want to be in your profession. Obviously, if you want to make more money, you will want to work more and you will want to spend more hours on the court. And that's the only way to make money in this industry is if you are on the court.
But we've got to change that.
But we
right?
gotta change that. We gotta change it for somebody like me. And here we go, USDA, if you're listening. If you listen, I mean, you're involved with USDA. I'm trying to get involved more. It's been tough for me last 4 years because I've had kids back to back, and I'm trying through social media, and actually USPTA, PTRW are reaching out to me, and we're working, and UTR, and but through my social media. But I feel like outside of that, I feel like there should be more possibilities. There should be more things to get involved, to do more things. But it's like, how do I do it? Where do I start? How do I go? Who do I reach out? Because I built up my business from scratch. I built up my business from nothing, from one lesson in my neighborhood, where I have now 5 coaches that are working for me in my neighborhood. Tennis with Emma, it's not just the social media. I have between 70 and 100 clients weekly. I run groups, I run privates, adults, kids. Now I'm a head pro in a country club, and I'm doing a lot, right? And I'm also building the social media, but I want to get more involved with USTA, with USPTA. I want to change some things, but like, how do I do that? This is why I am doing this. I'm doing the podcast. This is why I'm talking to you. This is why I'm doing social media, hoping that we can do something to help moms like I am. They're trying, that are doing a lot. Like, I don't have any benefits, right? I don't have any benefits.
I understand. I've been in this industry my whole life and I've never had any benefits.
Zero. Yeah.
So now you and I are, maybe we might be different than the norm. Okay. Like, again, it's worked out for us in its own ways. It's very difficult when you look at females who are mothers, and I am not a mother. Okay. So that's one thing that I've not had to struggle with. I don't know how I could be, because I literally work 7 days a week. Yeah. And you could say I'm a workaholic. Well, I love my work. There's always that work-life balance. Well, you know what? I love my work. Otherwise, if you don't love your work, you can't do it 6 and 7 days a week on a regular basis. And again, there you have to lean on our trade organizations. Okay. So USPTA and PTR represent the tennis coaches, okay, and their well-being. So, it's kind of those two organizations that really need to take the lead in developing more of this pathway, doing more from hiring, getting people involved. People often, the USTA is our governing body and they have a lot on their plate, and, they can't do everything for everybody. But I would suggest anybody listening, is that if you do want to get more involved at your own local level, the best ways to start are by reaching out to your sectional USTA. Okay. So in our case, USTA Florida, they are always looking for coaches to help with different things. Okay. So your local USTA section, local community tennis associations, that's kind of where, if you're in the industry and you are looking for more, that's a good place to get started. The other thing, of course, is going to the big conferences. Okay. So that USPTA World Conference, PTR symposiums, because the networking opportunities there are just amazing because you are getting representation from everybody in the industry. Now, granted, I understand, going to a big world conference, it's a time commitment, it's a financial commitment, but in the end, those things are worthwhile. Emma, you and I are lucky that we live in Florida because so much of this stuff happens in Florida. So we don't have to get on a plane, right, to go. Like next year in September, the USPTA World Conference will be in Orlando. All right. So guess what? You and I can drive. We don't have to get on that airplane. But yeah, finding that balance. And to your point, most coaches are going to work those random hours. Okay. Sometimes whether, we might be single or you don't have kids. So we have that flexibility, work on the evening or work on that Sunday morning. But I feel based upon, today's generations, and you look at young people coming out of university, you're young, you're 30, you're in that, it's like, okay, how much longer can I go, with that schedule? Each person has to find that balance. But I think if we as an industry can offer, hey, you're going to come work for ABC Club, I'm going to guarantee you a 5-day work week. Yeah. I think we're going to get a lot more people interested, and we need bodies right now.
We do. We definitely do. Like you said, we live in a different times,
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't want to work that much, but they want to make money, right?
Right. That's
it's like, I mean, yes, I'm younger, but I'm different. I have that like older mindset, maybe because I grew up in Bosnia, where I know how it is not to have anything. And I'm like one of those that, is in America now and is trying to use every opportunity, because in my country, I don't have these opportunities. That's right. So I see all these opportunities, I see these doors, but it's like, how, where, it has to be, like you said, better pathways, better things, so, we are here to help that.
I mean, I'm always for, I'm here to mentor. I'm help. Where I am beneficial is that I've been in this industry a very long time. I'm very networked globally, and I know how the systems and the processes work. So, that's where I can be of great assistance. I don't have all the answers nor the solutions, but, always happy to talk about it and to help. So anyway, again, not a problem that you and I necessarily can solve, but I think there are people like Simon Gale at the national campus. I need to introduce you to Simon Gale at some point. Actually, you should have him on this podcast, and he can talk about the 5-day work week.
Yes. Okay, Simon, you're next. Do you have any goals? Anything you're working towards right now? We're gonna get into deeper questions right now, so be ready. Is there anything, because you said you're a workaholic, right? I really am too. That's why I feel like for me it's so hard to balance this being a mom. And I came to the terms where it's like, okay, I'm doing the best I can. I love my job. I love what I'm doing. And I used to feel guilty if I don't spend enough time with them. I don't anymore, because I am also better with them when I know that I've done what I wanted to, right? Maybe somebody will not agree with that. And there's different, but this is where I'm at right now. And I see, okay, you're a workaholic. You do what you love and you keep doing it. And I see myself doing it,
right.
For a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah, really. Because I'm not that type of person that's gonna, sit and waste time. Obviously there's time to relax. I like to relax too. But do you set some goals for yourself do you have something that drives you, that motivates you? What pushes you every day to do? Is it just the love for your job, or there's something more?
I'm not a great goal setter, never have been, never will be. Like I've just come, like there are some people like, this, like our very good friend, my very good friend, Emma Doyle, she's a great goal setter. Okay. I am just, and then you just recognize that this is what I do. This is what I don't do. But I always have the goal of, for me, it's personally and professionally, it's getting a little better every single day. All right. And then with, in regards to cardio tennis, I mean, it's always motivating me because even though cardio tennis has been around for 17 years, I will tell you that it still has not come close to reaching its potential.
No.
So I always have that carrot dangling out there. So Emma, the day that I feel it's reached its potential will be the day that I have, reached my goal. And I'm not there yet. It's not there yet. I mean, there are so many facets to this that it is constantly keeping me engaged. I mean, and again, I'm not saying that I don't set goals. I do have like objectives or things that I want to get to. So as an example, at the start of this year, my big objective was actually cardio tennis triples, that I was going to put a tremendous amount of focus, effort, and education into that particular space. And so what did I do? Okay, well, I knew, okay, this is what needs to happen for me to get there. One of those things was immediately creating an online course, working with tennis service reps around the country, speaking engagements on triples, doing triples consumer activations around the country. I mean, all those things. So, I mean, and that's just one piece of cardio tennis. All right. So again, I've got enough to keep me busy for a couple more decades, easily. And that triples goal, I knew that's not just that is a long-term goal. That's more like of a 3-year sort of goal. In fact, in just the latest and most recent issue of Racket Sports Industry magazine, there is an article that I wrote on the cardio tennis triples experience. So I think that gives you a better, broader view of kind of how my brain works a little bit. But if you said, Michele, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? I don't think I've ever had a 5-year, 10-year plan. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's just not how my brain operates.
How you operate. Yeah. That's so interesting because I feel like I'm very like you. Like when I speak with Emma Doyle, she's one of my mentors. She's awesome. The podcast with her was great. Sometimes I feel like not guilty, but in a way like, oh, maybe I should have a 5-year plan. Maybe, okay, where do I see myself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in this? What is my goal? But I struggle. I struggle with that. I really do. But I'm not just like sitting at home and like, okay.
Well, you're not slacking. Okay.
Exactly. Sometimes I even have to like pump the brakes, right? But it's okay. Is it better to have that goal or to kind of like just try to get like 1% better each day? Like which one is better? I mean,
or maybe it's a combination, but I think, Emma, it comes down to what works for you. Like I have the moments where, yes, maybe I should have the 5-year plan, but you know what? They kind of leave my brain pretty quickly. And it's like, okay, you know what? Those are things. So for me, what works is, again, a little bit better every day. I have objectives, but I don't put too much pressure on myself to meet them because I know I get more accomplished before 9 a.m. than most people get accomplished in a whole day. All right. So, you got to balance it out. And I'm sure you're the same. So don't put too much guilt on yourself. I would like to be Emma Doyle, but I'm not. I'm very proud of her. She finished her book. That was like a major accomplishment goal. I mean, like, bravo to her. I can tell you that I'm not writing a book, Emma.
Yeah. Oh, you're not. Okay, good.
I'm not. There will be no book from me.
You see, I want after something like, but we'll see. But I could never write a book like me. It would have to be a ghostwriter, you know?
So you know what I've been writing and working. So I write, again, in a way, it is a book. I write our trainer leader guides for cardio tennis. Okay. I mean, those things are 40, 50 pages. All right. So there's a book, there's my book. It's just not for public consumption.
What do you do besides working? How do you find your balance in life? How do you balance everything? You know, what is your secret?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. And we were having this conversation last week with people on my team at the USTA, and we talk about work-life balance. I'm not really sure that I like that whole like combination. Like, I think if you love your work, then everything is balanced more or less. But my free time, I love playing with my dog. I like to be outside. I want to go to the beach. I want to be on my paddleboard. Those are some of the things that make me, happy. I think what is probably more important is I travel a lot for business. I always have. Traveling can be amazing. It's not as glamorous as people think it is, and it can be physically and mentally exhausting. So how do you bounce back from that? How do you recover? How do you get ready for the next thing? And I think what a lot of people don't ask me is like what I do to be the person that I am at 55 years old. All right. So, how do I maintain this energy? Okay. Like you'll hear me ad nauseum. I like to brag that I still have a 30-inch box jump. I'm 55 years old. Okay. Well, a 30-inch box jump doesn't come like, one day of working out. I mean, so it's little things like that. I mean, most 20-year-olds don't have a 30-inch box jump. All right. So it is that self-care. So for me, self-care is sleep. Okay, like sleep is always my number one priority.
What are some of your routines when it comes to nutrition, exercise, meditation? How do you stay like that? So when you say sleep, how long? How many hours of sleep?
My bedtime is 10 o'clock. So, I kind of need to be in bed, by 10. I'm usually asleep by 10:15, and then I'm up like 6:30 in the morning. So, and it's a routine. Now you can't keep that routine when you're traveling. So traveling messes that up, but that's my normal. I'm a workout in the morning person. My working out includes things. Tennis is my number one. Okay. So I always want to hit the smack out of tennis balls. Okay. The best fitness activity ever. I will say I've been traveling so much the last 6 weeks that I think I've hit tennis balls once. So I am dying inside because that has occurred. Then I go to a boutique fitness place here in Sarasota that kind of was born from IMG Academy, and it's high intensity interval training. So I'm there 2 or 3 times a week. Lots of walking. I walk my dog minimally 1.5 miles every day. I play padel. I paddleboard. So I have lots of, and that's the thing. If you can't rely on one thing, you have to have numerous things to keep you fit and active. But especially as you age, strength training is so key, and most people don't comprehend that. So you even if it's just your own body weight, okay, you have to. So you can't just play tennis. Okay, you have to do strength training as well. People are always like, well, why don't you play pickleball? Okay, well, because I have no time. Okay, I'm not even getting tennis in. All right, and sorry, nothing against pickleball, but I will pick tennis over pickleball every day of the week 1,000 times over. Pickleball is not for my level of fitness. It's just not going to cut. It's not going to. There's nothing greater than running around on a big tennis court, whacking balls. So there's that, and then it's also, Emma, it's about moderation. Okay, it's moderation in your diet. It's even, moderation in whatever you do. So, I eat pretty much everything. There's very few things that I don't eat. But everything is in moderation. When I travel and come back home, I always go to my favorite juice store and I get anti-inflammatory juice. I usually do acupuncture. I do active release technique. These are all the things that have kept me on a tennis court, injury-free, by the way, for decades.
Wow.
So it's work, and it's not just one thing. So, I'm glad like we're kind of sharing this because, I've been doing active release technique since I was probably 25 years old. So active release technique is fascia manipulation. You have to go to a chiropractor. They're the ones that chiropractors are the only that they are certified to do that. Not all chiropractors do it. I mean, that's kept me that's part of my pit crew. Because Emma, if you are not healthy and well, how are you going to take care of your kids or your family? Okay. If I'm not healthy or well, I can't do my job. I have people, family members that I need to take care of. So, you do need to, and it's consistency.
Yeah.
Okay. Consistency is the key. It's not just, okay, I'm going to do this for a month and then I go 6 months and not, the only thing that I've been missing in my schedule this 6 weeks has been tennis. Okay. But everything else, I rollerblade. Okay, I'm a big rollerblader. So, I have a big pot of things that I can pick from. Because you can't always find somebody to play tennis with, right? But
Exactly.
I can go out on my rollerblades on my own.
I haven't been rollerblading in a long time, but it's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, you have to.
Right, for tennis players, like tennis players for cross training, they should be rollerblading, for goodness sakes. Okay. The side to side lateral movement, strengthening the adductors and the abductors. Hello,
Yeah. All the tennis players roller. Yeah, that's such a good point. I've never thought of it.
I think I've seen people do ice skating playing tennis. Actually,
No, but this could be a good workout. Think about it.
You got to be a good rollerblader.
Yeah, true.
You got to have really good stopping, accelerating. I mean, it's hard enough to accelerate and decelerate just in tennis. Okay, let alone on. Maybe okay, we'll put that on the list going forward. Okay, and we'll get it on video, and you and I are ready for that.
No, this is so good. I agree with you that moderation, consistency.
Yep.
It's all a key. It's not just doing one thing or doing this, eating this. It's balancing everything out. I'm also all about like 80-20, right? But you have 20 more years,
Yeah, I got a lot of years on you.
You do, so it's very, very good to hear that. So thank you so much for sharing that. Sure. What would be your advice for a younger self, for a 30-year-old self or 25? Is there something you would do differently looking back with anything, when it comes even to your nutrition or exercise, or if it, to your career choices? Is there anything else, anything that you would do differently?
I can look back and I say that I liked my path. There were, as a young person, of course, moments of, I guess for lack of a better word, indecision. When I was younger, like when you're in your 20s, I did not have the focus that I do. My priorities were not quite set at that time. When I say 20s and younger, probably too much goofing around, partying. Okay, but that's also fairly normal for that, age group. I think I'm very lucky because I traveled tremendously when I was young. I had those opportunities. Okay. So I'm not one of those people that, when I retire, I'm going to go here, or when I retire. Well, you know what? Most people, they retire at 65, and the statistics for how many people die within 6 months after retiring is way too big of a number. So at a young age, I was able to live in many, many different states in the United States, outside the country, et cetera. So like, I feel like I've ticked off so many boxes. The one thing I would say, it would have been nice to have had a good mentor at a younger age. Okay. So that's not so much about doing something differently. That would just be more like a wish. Like, I didn't really meet my who I consider my main mentor until I was about 27. And I mean, that's not terribly old, but I think it is kind of for a tennis coach. So it would have been nice if I had had somebody in my life, like at, 22 or so, that was a really good mentor. So based on that, I always try to help people out when I can. Not necessarily that I'm going to become someone's mentor, but happy to be if the fit is right. But I think that I would have just probably accelerated more quickly had I had, that person in my life from a younger age. But I'm very happy with tennis. So you learn some lessons as you're young, but so really the answer is I wouldn't have changed too much. I'm just glad I'm glad I turned out okay, Emma, because sometimes so somehow I managed to take the right.
Yeah. I think you're awesome, and I just love listening to you and your story and learning from you, because I'm 25 years before you, I mean, whatever. Like,
I can say there is experience with age. And, I look at, okay, well, you said you have goals. Okay, well, when I'm 70, I still want to have a 30-inch box jump.
Wow. Okay. There's your goal.
I want to be rollerblading when I'm 70.
Oh, right. I can see you 100%. 100%.
So those are more from the personal as opposed to the professional level, but that's why I train. Okay. That's why I do the due diligence. That's why I'm consistent, so that I can be doing those things when I'm 70, 80. I might change the box jump when I'm 80.
Yeah. Maybe.
I'll bring it down maybe to 24.
Yeah. Is there a book that you recommend?
Yeah. So I love reading. I love reading.
Good.
But I would tell you also that, unlike a lot of our other friends and colleagues, I'm not reading a lot of the motivational self-help.
Okay.
Those top, the best leadership skills, all the books that fall in. Yeah. I'm not good. I'm very honest with what I do and what I don't do.
Yeah. I love it.
So I want to read for pleasure.
Okay.
Reading is the one thing that kind of takes my brain away from tennis.
Okay.
I need that. I mean, that's kind of the break for me. I read a lot. I read a ton. I like dystopian type kind of books where, it's another weird, crazy world. I would kind of recommend, I listen to a few podcasts. There's one on science that, but even podcasts, it's like I go for entertainment, because that's kind of my rest, away from the business and tennis. There is a podcast called Science VS, and I think it's very educational, and it's very factual and science-based. So if you believe in science, that's kind of a good one. But yeah, I don't have any real books, because most of my books are fluffy and But it's interesting how we work with differently, because again, so many of our colleagues, it's like, they're reading, this and how to be better, in this area or this area. And I'm like, just going to read my entertainment.
That's me. I love those books like that, like your colleagues. I mean, I didn't like it 5 years ago. Now I love it. So I don't know what I will like in 5 years.
Exactly. Our tastes change. Absolutely. So
it wouldn't be good if we're the same person 5-10 years ago, right? I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. This was great. I feel like we could talk for another 3 hours. Really. So we will have to do another one in 50 episodes or something. Thank you so much. Hope this was fun for you too. And let's connect more. And I wish you all the best. I'm excited to see where the cardio tennis is going to go.
I would like you to get out on your rollerblades, young lady. So let me know if that happens.
I have to put them first.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and a review. To catch all the latest from me, You can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok at Tennis with Emma. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.